Hello, my name is Arisa Scott. I am a product manager with Unity. I work out of the Seattle office, and I work for online services. I work on Collaborate and performance reporting with a bunch of other services that are all about solving problems that can slow you down or prevent you from just focusing on working on your game, like things you'd rather not deal with. And one of the products that we're doing is called Collaborate, which was the result of talking to a lot of different teams where half of their source control would be in like source control, hardcore, very messy, and like a lot of things. And then like the artists and designers would be using Dropbox, USB sticks. And then also when you have like game jams and you just want to get up and running and you don't want to spend a lot of time managing things or untangling things, Collaborate is all about making your life easy and having kind of a simplified and streamlined way of everyone on your team being able to just work together. So I'm going to give you a demo to show you how easy it is. We're fully integrated in the editor, simple and easy to use, just works. And this is the 5.4 beta 19 that I'm going to be showing off. So I'm going to hop out of this. How many of you saw the keynote or have seen a Collaborate demo before? Many of you. OK, that's good. Well, I hope I can give you something new and exciting. Exit. Switching. So I'm going to start with showing you actual setup. This is 5.4 beta 19. I'm going to click new, make a new project, doing a demo at Unite. And so I've got my organization switched on. If you have analytics enabled, then it will ask you for your organization name. So with kind of the 5.4 stuff, it's about tying all of your services to an organization so that we can kind of keep track of your project and it's owned by an organization rather than a user, so that if you're working with a bunch of teammates, you all have kind of one hub to point to. And it also makes it easier for us to have we've got like a project ID so that things can be tracked across services. So I have that turned on. I'm going to click create, and then we're going to be excited while Unity creates a project. OK. So this is the services window I have open here. And you can see analytics is already flipped on. But for Collaborate, we can click into it and flip it on. And everything in the services window, except for multiplayer, you can just flip it on with the switch. So for Collaborate, I'm going to flip it on. So this is the little collab toolbar here up in the top corner. First, commit, publish. So we're all about being streamlined. Like it should take you less than 30 seconds to get your project set up. Like it's just that easy to just start working. So if I were a solo developer, I would be done. I would have my little history, and I'd be able to work on my project from any computer anywhere because it's tied to your Unity ID when you sign in with your email address. So your project will wander with you as you work on a desktop or a laptop, which makes it a lot easier for you to be able to access your project. But in general, I'm not a solo developer. It's a lot more fun if you're working with someone else, and there are a lot of different skill sets. So this one, I'm going to invite my tester who is in Seattle. So she's asleep, so she'll wake up to an email. That's fine. So when you invite someone from in the editor, they'll receive an email and be notified that they've been added to your project. They don't have to do anything with that email. It's just hey, by the way, you're added to this. So from their point of view, what they'll see is the next time they open up Unity, they'll have this little in the cloud. And this shows off everything that you've been added to, and also your own projects that have Collaborate turned on so that you can access them from anywhere. So you have in the cloud projects, and then you have your on-disk projects. I'm going to go back to on-disk and switch into Burly Minute C. So part of the keynote, I did back and forth with another person, and that's kind of hard to do alone. But thankfully, we've got history, so I can go back and forth a bit with myself to show you some of the cool features. So I've got a commit right here where the sun got moved. And it's in the same scene file. Normally, if you were working in the same scene file, this would cause a conflict. However, if you're using Smart Merge, which is a tool that Collaborate uses under the covers, but anyone here can use right now with any source control or anything at all, and I hope you guys will use it because it's great for scenes and prefabs and making things come together. And also my team wants to make it better with time, so we really want your feedback on what works well and what doesn't with it. So I'm going to move this little boat, save my scene. And I've got this little blue icon, which means I have something to send up. But I also have something to pull down. And this is also to that same fishing village. So I'm going to click Update Now. And it's going to have me reload. And like that, I have a sun in a new position. My boat is still here. These things, can just be stitched together. And they can work that easily, and you don't have to worry about managing other things. The main thing is making sure that you're changing different objects. And with time, we want to make that even better so that you have to spend less time focusing on, like, who's got the scene, get out of it, and more time just like, gonna make my game, gonna work on things. I already have Cloud Build enabled for this project, but that's another key part of Collaborate, is that we want to flow really well into the rest of the Unity ecosystem. And like if you're using Collaborate, it should be easier for you to just use other Unity things. And like so with this, I've got like successful builds so that every time I'm making a commit and Cloud Build is ready, I'm able to get that build. So I don't know if many of you use Cloud Build. How many of you use Cloud Build? Not many. You should be using Cloud Build. It's so cool. And actually, after me, Chris is going to be talking about how awesome Cloud Build is with Snowhorse, which is super awesome. So I'm going to show you some Cloud Build stuff. I'm going to go back to another project. Normally, in the past, I've done multiple versions of Unity, but that if you run multiple versions of Unity at once, you get really exciting bugs. And I only want mildly exciting bugs right now, because demos bring all the best bugs. So if we're getting Cloud Build set up with Collaborate, you can go into your history window, and you can click Configure Now. And so normally when you configure Cloud Build, you have to tell it where your source is, but since we already have your source, you just tell us what you want to build. So you've got all these platforms you can build for, and the nice thing about this is there's a lot of customization. So if you want to have a build for like, here's a scene that is the artist playground, you can make that scene and have a build that's just about that for your Android device, and turn on developer mode, and then you're able to get the APKs right to their phone without you having to like make a build, zip it up, and send it their way. So Cloud Build is about making your life a lot easier. And the other nice thing about that is here's a different version of that. You can generate share links, which are also QR codes. And you can also revoke links, because this is Berlin Minute C that I have open, which is a live project, and I don't want you guys to download that for free, because you should support Brooke and David. And so Smart Merge is documented really well, so you guys should check that out regardless of what you're using. But Collaborate is about making your life easier by being kind of directly in the editor. So I want to show you some other stuff, because I think their demos are pretty straightforward. And after that, maybe switch to questions. So this is a new feature that we're working on right now, which hopefully I can go into AirPlay, full screen mode with this guy. Boop, boop, boop. So when you're working on different things, it can be hard to keep track of who's doing what. And this is about giving you a little icon so you know, like, someone is working in this scene, someone has made a change to this scene, and you've got this little like notification, this is version 0, and later versions will have like their name, and eventually it's going to be by hierarchy within the scene. So you can be like, why are you messing with that cube? Why are you messing with that spear? Or like, oh, he's doing that over there, I can do this over here. So that you don't have to manage who's working on what parts of the scene. You can just see what's going on and work on different things together. So that's soft lock, which is our next upcoming feature. One other cool feature that I want to show off that was made in a 1-week hack week, actually. Scene social. So this one, it's all about it's commenting in scene, and it's a pain to try and communicate to your teammates, like, this looks weird from this angle, or like a lot of the back and forth you'll have with your teammates is about specific objects in a scene. And you want to be able to have things that can live with different parts of your scene rather than having to like snap a bunch of screenshots. So this is all like, as soon as you add a comment, it's received. So you can kind of use it as real-time back and forth light chat, Or you can use it for that offline, I want to leave an artist a bunch of comments, and I want them to make a bunch of changes, or I'm an artist and I want a developer to make a bunch of fixes. And like the little view icon lets you see the exact angle that person was viewing it from when they were writing the comment, which I think is one of the most important parts, because saying like, oh, this looks funny from this angle is a very hard thing to communicate sometimes, or that third house on the left. And you can use it for light project tracking as well, like we've got a little resolve feature in there. So you can close things out and use it to be like, what things do I need to do, and make sure you get them done. And have multiple conversations per object if you want. So you can just sort of separate things out. Because I think a lot of Unity in a scene is about your specific objects and your layout and moving things around there. Yeah, it supports Markdown. Makes it really easy for commenting on grouped objects. And we want to support a lot of other things. Right now, this is some placeholder UI, because it was done in a 1-week hack week. We're going to be improving it. Those are the guys that worked on it that I work with. They're really cool. I like them a lot. And they're back in Seattle right now, so that's them. All right. And one of the other things we're doing with Collaborate is we're working on a web UI, and we want that to offer some light features and some light insight into your project. And so right now you can see like the history of an individual file, and if you want to be able to download that, like if you have an old scene you want to get back to, you can do that from the web. We will have that functionality in the editor, but right now it's only on the web. And for the editor, we've been focused on some few features, very stable. Like we focused on like spending the last 4 months only doing bug fixing, and we're really happy to get back to adding features, because bug fixing for that long is not a lot of fun. But it's really important to us that Collaborate be super stable and that you feel comfortable using it. We also have a timeline view, which shows you, all the timelines, so you can at a glance see a thing. The feature we're working on right now for the web is a preview, so you can preview image files, including Photoshop files, and see how they've changed over time, and preview scripts and see how they've changed over time. And we also want to add in some tagging in there and kind of get the commenting feature there as well. So that's Collaborate. I don't have much else with that, but I would love to hear questions. Oh, and yep. Queue times we don't have for Collaborate. That is more of for Cloud Build, I don't know. Chris, who's after me, might have a guess for that, but I'm not sure what they're doing there. I know that they want it to be as fast as possible, and that's a problem they're focused on solving.
Yeah, just a quick question about, in larger studios, you tend to get your changes reviewed potentially before just committing to the project like that. Mm-hmm. Is there anything to integrate any review process into Collaborate?
Not currently. It is planned to do that, though. What kind of review process would you like to see?
Well, like code review as a programmer, stuff like that. So. Yes,
that's definitely something that's on our roadmap and we want to have, but few features, less bugs. Oh, sorry. The mic.
Hi.
Hey.
So currently, with source control, you can add things that you want to push. Mm-hmm. There, you seem to just press one button. Is there ways to prevent things from being pushed? Because we have artists and stuff that just want to mess about and then revert everything.
So right now we have revert an individual asset. We do have support for partial commit. We've done the work there, but we don't have the UI for that, and we will have that. It is useful to hear that's useful.
OK, do you plan to add branches to the
We do plan to add branches. Right now we are focused on a very streamlined feature set, and we'll probably add some kind of local branch or simplified version of branching to start, and then go into more complicated features. Next year in particular, we're going to switch from solving the smallest use case to trying to focus on kind of bigger use cases like integration with other source control, because we don't care where you host your project. We just want to make sure the UI is friendly, and we would focus on collaboration features, not on chasing after a bunch of source control features.
Will there be any limit for size of a project?
Yes. Well, there will be a limit based on money, and so like it's infinite size as long as you're willing to give us money. So no limits.
How much?
We're figuring that out. But for right now, if you are a beta user, which let me switch to my little beta sign up screen. So if you are a beta user, we are going to grandfather everyone into 15 gigabytes. And like the free will probably be less than that. And the plus will be more and the pro will be more. But right now we need usage to get pricing figured out. We want to price really close to cost. Like we'll be tied to your subscription, and then there will be some kind of probably metered billing if you go above that or something like that. But we're trying to figure out what's the most pain-free, because spending a bunch of time thinking about billing is my least favorite thing. Oh. There's one there and there's one there. So.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
So partial commit is awesome, but what about the ability to exclude an entire folder from the version control?
Yes, ignore. That is also something that we have support for it, but we don't have UI for it right now.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Hi, it looks very promising. I have two more questions. If there is a conflict between two files, are you planning to add a UI like using theirs or using mine, using ours versions?
Yes, we have it.
You already have it? Because I
yep.
didn't see it. Okay.
Let me,
Oh, it's pretty hard to do it alone, I know.
Well, it's actually not that hard. It's just a matter of like conflict resolution is not, I think, the most exciting thing. Angry
no,
red
but it
bangs.
happens, and we want to fix it.
Hey, Unity, open up. So go back to my Burly Minute C demo. So right now we have a pretty straightforward version of this, and later this year we're planning on doing like visual diff, because I think that's a lot of Unity is pretty visual, and that's one of the most important parts. So I'm going to go back to this one, which is going to have me reload the scene. And so this sun moved. So I'm going to move it somewhere else, save the scene, update. Our sun can only be in one place. Oh, angry red bang. So from here, I've got see differences, launch external, and from within Unity, you can choose whatever external tool you want. Like I have file merge on this machine, and then we have choose mine or choose theirs.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, like see differences, it's pretty straightforward, and whatever tools you want to use with it, it's fine with us.
Okay, that's perfect. And one last question is, what's behind the hood? What's under the hood of Collaborate? Is this Git, SVN?
It's yep.
Okay.
It is Git under the covers. And though we're kind of extracted somewhat from Git because Unity's a bit weird, and we also don't want to be kind of Git only in the future. We want people to use whatever they want to.
I would like to know what will happen if I add the Collaborate to existing project with already having Git version control. Will it crash or?
It won't crash. It'll work. Your version control might get angry sometimes. There will be. I think we've had users do that ran into some issues, but they've been able to overcome them. I know the Paris Labs guys have been using Collaborate, and their developers use source control. I don't remember what kind, but their designer loves being in Collaborate, so they end up just getting their branch that is ready for review and like creating a new project and tying that to Collaborate. There's some people that use Collaborate for kind of their main branch where artists live. But you have to be kind of aware that you're running two systems, and they cannot play nice, but at the same time, all of the issues I've heard are ones that the developers themselves are usually able to get out of. Like, if you're able to run source control, you're probably able to troubleshoot a lot of these things. Other questions? Yes.
Oh, thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Sorry, we actually started a project using Git, and we had a problem because we didn't think our repo could have been so big. So
Yep.
we ended up with having a repo of 50 gigabytes.
Yep.
And we had loads and loads of problems with Git.
Yep.
So because you're saying that 100 you're using it, are you actually planning to support other version control like SVN or everything else?
Yes.
Because if you have very, very big repos.
We will. We are also doing LFS-like things to make big version control, big projects and big files work better with Collaborate. So that is something that we're working on making even better.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Other questions?
One here.
Yes.
Hi, feature looks pretty cool. My company is quite wary of cloud security. I mean, using Google Drive and all these kind of services. So, how can I sell them Collaborate or Cloud Build?
Sure. You should grab my card so I can send you the security doc that I really should have written by now. But writing security docs is not exciting, not really my love and joy. So we are secure. We want to get more secure with time. We do eventually want to, like next year, work on also kind of people that want an on-prem solution, so on-premise. But yes, that just needs to be written up and documented, and I can get that to you. Question over there? In the back.
Now that he's touching on the security part, I was actually wondering, do you have any plans of allowing people to use Collaborate but use like a internal server so that like we don't really need to put everything on the cloud, so we can have it locally?
Yes, we plan to do that next year. One other thing we're also currently working on for people working in the same environment is a local cache server that we want to be able to work pretty seamlessly so that you don't have to deal with 3 ACID imports and to make things a little bit better. So. Other questions? No one ever, huh? Oh, back there.
Hi there. The merging thing for unresolvable conflicts looks good. Is there any plans to bring that into, say, showing a hierarchy, particular objects that have changed, sort of conflicts, that kind of thing, rather than just the YAML directly?
Yes. We definitely want to break scenes apart a lot more, and I think like with the softlocks feature as well, it's important for us that like the .unity scene contains a lot of information, and we want to focus on like the objects and eventually get to the state where we're like, do you want this position or this position? Do you want this rotation or this rotation? Because I think the more we can break apart scenes and give you the ability to choose this, not that. Because often, like even if you run into a conflict, sometimes you're like, I only actually care about this part of this thing. And so we do want to give you that level of granularity.
Sounds great.
Cool. Other questions?
Another question, because we know now it's based on Git.
Yep.
But is it possible to? It will be possible to block some parts of the scene from editing by any other user. So, like to create a layer that anyone but me can't do anything there.
So you want part of your Unity project for people to not be able to mess with that? Is that like
yeah,
a
black
hard lock?
other users that's working on the same scene to change anything there.
Yeah. So
just get the notifications. Oh, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. So I mean, like right now we just have kind of that visual way of showing things. Like this person is in this scene. I could see us doing something more of a stronger messaging, depending. But I think the Unity itself doesn't always deal that well with like a very strong hard lock. Like you literally can't mess with this file. Like that can cause some issues sometimes. So we want to avoid that and play well with Unity as we can. Other questions? One over there.
quick question regarding the sticky notes on the editor. Is it really required to use Collaborate for that?
For the commenting on the in the scene?
Yeah.
So we're talking to the Collaborate server, so yes, right now.
Okay. But it's something that it could be decoupled from?
Probably.
And are you planning to use to use it also for prefabs, for example, not only scenes? So
yeah.
I think this kind of context for other objects.
Yes, and for I think scripts as well, and for anything that is anywhere part of your Unity project, you should be able to leave comments on that. It's just a matter of making sure we figure out what the best UI is for that and that it doesn't become a tangled mess.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
On the commenting, your way of resolving an open comment, is there a way to see all of those unresolved comments in one spot?
Not yet, but I will take a note to make sure that we do something like that.
Because I can see that becoming a really handy to-do list in a Unity Collaborate project.
Yeah. One thing we were also planning on working on, or we want to do something like tagging or kind of labels, so that you can be like notifications that are people like, kind of like in Slack where they're like at your name, so that you can see like who's trying to pull me in different places and see that at a glance. Hey. I'm just going to open up a customer project. So we have we've let about 1,000 orgs into Collaborate right now, and so we entered beta back in March, and we've been slowly ramping up because we want to make sure our servers work well and that everyone has the best experience possible. And right now we're working on some optimizations right now that are going through test, and so at the end of this month we'll be adding a lot more people. But this project is called Throne of Lies, and it was a little indie dev who was a programmer who wanted to learn Unity, and he posted on Reddit like, how do I work with my friend? And he got a bunch of advice, and he was like, it sounds too complicated. And so I sent him a message. It's like, hey, I got this thing. And it was December, and we were in alpha. And he was like, sure, I'll try it out. And is Unity going to freeze on me? It's pretty Unity. Happens sometimes. But he's been working on it, and he went from being like one dev working with a friend, and then his friend actually like flaked on him, and he just like kept plugging away, and now I think he's up to 7 other people that he works with, and he's in Singapore, he's working with a guy in Ireland, another guy in the US, and like they're very global and scattered all around, and they've been able to work back and forth, and he's planning on quitting his job and running a Kickstarter, and it's been really cool to see him make that transition. And we've heard from a lot of people that are especially like a lot of artists that are like, oh my God, my life is so much easier. We had one artist who was like, I'm not afraid of breaking things. And that's the kind of thing that we really want to hear more of. Is there a question? Hey.
Yeah, so I was wondering how reliable the service is at this point, and should I be worried with more complex projects? And also, when do you plan to put it out of beta?
So, bunch of questions. Starting with how reliable is it? Like from a server-side perspective, it's very reliable. The only, like, you might see flickering in UI. Like I mentioned with the server stuff, our server's in California, so I've got an extra like 200 millisecond delay here that makes things a bit worse. And we're going to be in Frankfurt this month, which will make things more performant. But from like a security, or like from your project being safe perspective, we've never lost anything. We're actually like double kind of backing things up, which is a lot less cost effective for us. But right now we want to make sure that everything, while we're in beta, that we don't lose anything, that we don't mess anything up, and that's really important to us. And everything has been really, like, we haven't had any issues with that. And then your next question that I just forgot was, when it's out of beta. Okay, so towards the end of this year, probably in fall, depends on when like the next kind of major Unity release is. Probably be tied to like 5.5-ish. So a lot of that's dependent on that. But this year is definitely our goal. And that's all we've got. So thank you guys very much.